And if you have found this channel, you've probably found it through some of my shorts. You probably found it through my various art tutorials, and you will notice that well, I like to do a lot of Celtic knotwork. I loved the style involving all the different threads. I love the way that colors really play into the design. I love the way that you can just do a few different things and then suddenly things are absolutely crazy. Oh, you know what? It looks like right now I am not having the best. Hold on, let me readjust this. All right, so it looks like that is probably going to be the best way to do vertical, or to do actually have things lined up. So yeah, for tonight, I thought that I would just go through and show you guys how to do a few of these Celtic knot designs, and then figure out or show you guys what you can do with them, and then just kind of play around a little bit. So right now, just going to flip, and you'll notice that I'm just doing this on some basic graph paper. You know, really basic graph paper is one of the easiest ways to do designs starting from the very beginning. When it comes to, you know, making these kind of designs, it is nice to have them on regular colored paper, of course, but with, you know, just starting out, having the grids is a really great way to keep things lined up. So first off, what we do is you get your pencil, and I just go with a basic mechanical pencil. I don't do anything too crazy, but then what you're gonna do is you're gonna start, and you're just gonna make a dot right down here. And you know what? I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, so then you're able to see that a little bit better. So just made a dot here, and then I'm gonna make just a really simple 3x3 grid, just like this. Just like this, nothing too crazy. The thing too about doing these knots is you're gonna be doing a lot of boring stuff in order to get through to the good stuff. But I'm just gonna start by doing a series of dots here. Now, the reason that I do the dots like this is because, one, I like having the diagonal look. I just think that looks cool. Two, the way that you do Celtic knots, and I'm going to go in with my pen on this one so that way you can see the lines a little bit better, is the dots are going to be the holes that the weave is going to kind of bleed through. Hey, welcome for joining. Thank you for joining me. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the inside of the dot, just like that. I'm going to draw a line just like that. And then on the other side, I'm going to do inside to that one. And the reason I'm doing that is because that is the first part of the thread, the first part of the weave. Well then, because you're going to have a thread that's going to go over one, a thread's going to go under one, so then I'm going to come over here and do inside of dot, inside of dot. And so now you have a weave that looks like it's going and going to be going under this one. Well, up here, I'm going to do the exact same thing, going perpendicular to this one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fill in another thread here like that. And we're going to fill in a thread like that. And then I'm going to do the weaves that would go across. So this one is going under here, and then it would go over across here. So I'll draw in that right there. And then This one's going over like this, so there would be another one going over like that. And then you go the other direction, so then I'll have a line right like that. Then I'll have another one inside here going like that. Another inside going like that. And then I go the opposite direction like that and like that. So now, as you can see, you'll have one thread that's going underneath this one, and then it would be going over this one. This thread be going over here, it's going or under here, and it's going over this one. And so you have this convenient weave pattern. Well, you can take this and you can extend this as far as you possibly want. But if we're keeping it just like there, well, now we got to do something about these ends. So what I'm going to do is on this one, I'm just going to put a little loop like this and fill that in. Because now for this loop, you got this thread that goes under here, and then it'll go over this one. Well, I'm going to put a little cap here like that. So then the loop is coming around like this. Then I'll put a cap here like this. So again, it's going around just like that. And then I'll put a cap like that, completing now the first ring of our design. Well, we've got this loop here, and the thing to remember too is that this, it doesn't look like it, but that's actually one of the ends. So from here, what I want to do is I want to make a loop at the end here like this, because now this one, it goes under here, it'll go over that loop, come around, it goes underneath here, and then over here, etc., etc. And I'm going to do that on this guy over here, like so. And then I'm going to do this on the other side, like so. Then I'm going to do this on this side, like so. And now we have a design that has all the loops are all closed off. So you see this one goes under here, it goes over this one, loops around, goes underneath here, over, under, over, makes a continuous loop. This one also makes a continuous loop, and then this one makes a convenient ring. Well, this is all well and good, but what if we want to make it a little bit more fun? And for that, I like to go in and color things in. Well, I've got a whole bunch of color pencils, and right now, I'm just going to pick, you know what? Green is a good color. I'm just going to pick a green. Well, here I'm going to come in, and there's a couple of different things that I can do as far as coloring goes. One that I've recently found that I really like is I'll have the color, and I'll color in part of the line, so that way you get a kind of double effect. But you can also fill in the line completely. So for this one, I'm just going to start, and I'm just going to shade this one right here, just like so. And now, what this does is it really brings out the ring and makes it stand out all that much easier. So now I've got that line, and then I'm going to fill this one in. Now, I have that solid ring. Well, next up, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to pick another color. And you know what? Brown actually works really well with the green. So now I'm going to come in, and for this one, I'm just going to fill in like so. And then I'll just fill this one in. And you notice this isn't the most exact, but this is just for a really fast design. This is not one that I'm going to like give away or anything. For those ones, I spend a lot more time. I'm a lot more focused. But for this, I'm going to show you how to do the general idea. And then I'm also going to come in and I'm just going to take a yellow because I think a yellow is a really good color with this. So I'll do yellow for this ring, like so. Just color that in, and like so. So here we have one yellow ring here, we have a green ring here, we have a brown ring here, and so you can see clearly that there are multiple rings going on inside this one design, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. Well, this is only a taste of what you can do, because if you look back, this is one of the designs that I did, and you notice that with this one, it actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So with this one, because it's a 5x5, I've got a lot more room to play with. I've got a lot more room to do really cool stuff with. With a 3x3, there's just not a lot of real estate. So it's nothing against a 3x3. These guys can be a lot of fun and you can do some really cool things, but I'm going to step it up a little bit. And I'm just going to pull this down here like this and then do a 4x4. So first I come in, draw my grid like so. Fill that in. Then fill in all the dots. And the thing about doing it like this too, this is kind of the planning period, even though it's the most boring part of just drawing dots. You're also kind of figuring out what do you want to do with this thing overall. So now I come in, fill the inside like so. Just like this. And then, because I've got a little bit more room to do stuff, there's a couple options. One option is if I erase one of these dots, well, now I'm cutting off from what it can be, and I'm cutting off from what is going to be able to be drawn in there. But another option is to draw a line connecting two of these dots together. So with this one right here, we've got actually a couple options. One option that's really cool is if you start up top here and you just draw a line connecting these guys, so then you'll kind of make little loops up here. Another option is putting the lines in here, so you make some inside lines. Well, for the sake of this one, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line here, draw a line here, draw a line here, and draw a line here. And part of the reason that I do that is because I like to maintain symmetry, I like to maintain patterns, and I like to be consistent going throughout. So now I'm going to come in here again, and I'll just do diagonal here like this. And because I know that what's going to happen on this diagonal is going to be the same thing in this corner, I'm just going to come down and do those marks like that. And then I'll keep going. And so I'm going to do all my diagonals in one direction, like so. And then later on, I'll go in and do the diagonals in the other direction. So that's all good there. Now I go diagonal here, like this, diagonal here, just going across. Then I go diagonals here, fill that in. Then I go diagonal here, diagonal here. Just like that. So now I've got all my diagonals in. Well, now I've got some interesting choices as far as how to put the caps on there. And one option is, you'll notice I've got this little end here, this end here, and before I just put a little loop. Well, part of why I put the line here like this is because I'm telling myself I don't actually want to put a line through like this. I'm gonna let that be a border. And so when I put my loop here like this, then what's cool is you notice it'll come like this. And so now you actually have these two kind of ring ends. Well, if I continue that all the way through on this side, and then come here, like that, and then I come here, and then I come here, like that, and then over here for the last, like that. Well, now I've got a whole bunch of these little rings that are all around these loops, and then I'm just going to put my end cap on here like this, my end cap here like that, put end cap like that, and I'll put an end cap like that. And now when I go through and color them, I'm going to do something a little bit different than with this one. I'm going to do all the same things in the same color. So like these little rings here, I'm going to do all of these in gold, like this. Because now you have all of them like so, as cool little gold rings around the entire thing. And then, just because I think that it might be pretty cool to have the brown as the main thing and not as the not green, I'm just gonna come in here, fill this in like that. So this will be one thread, like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So now I've got two threads of the same color. And like so. So now you'll notice that by having the extra little bit in there, it makes things a little bit more complicated. Well, believe it or not, it gets better, because you saw what happened with there. Well, what would happen if I actually did put a little bit of a cap there like that? In that case, I would go inside here to inside here, and I would actually put a line there. So let me just go ahead and draw that out really fast. Just like so. And then I'll fill in the inside dots. And I'm going to do all of the inside dots. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here like this, and I'm actually going to put a line there. I'm going to put lines here on these outside parts. Oops. Shake things up a bit. And then I'm going to go back in with my pen once again, and once again, just drawing in a bunch of little hash marks. It is almost the same as last time as far as what things are diagonals. And then I just come back in and do more diagonals, like so. Filling in the weave that much more. And now that I have these extra lines in, because I've got the line here, this is how it's going to be capped off. So I'm going to put a line here, or a curve. I'm going to put a curve here. I'm going to put a curve here, and put a curve here. And now we still have these guys that I can do just like before. So put those in just like before. But I have an end here and have an end here, and it's not next to each other, but I'm going to connect it anyways. So I'll go like this and connect those to each other. So now what I end up having is I have one outer ring, I have an inner ring, and then I have these two additional threads. Well, I like my yellow, so I'm going to go back in and I'm going to make this one a nice yellow. And because that ring is just right there like that, I'm going to make it a nice yellow as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in like so. And then I don't want green or brown, I want red. Because just like that thumbnail that we had at the very beginning, that thumbnail had a bunch of reds. I want to throw in some nice, how did Tony Stark put it? Hot rod red. Yeah, let's add that. I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They did fantastic. Oh my gosh, Robert Downey Jr., that dude was amazing. With Iron Man, he did fantastic. Yeah, if it wasn't for Robert Downey Jr., we probably wouldn't have the MCU. All right, so that's a couple things that you can do with 4. Well, again, going back here, these designs, they're all involving 5. That's because I like using the 5. Well, let's do something involving 5. So once again, I'm going to come in. I'm just going to center this guy. So I'm going to start. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I just connect all of these guys like so. And then, of course, I gotta fill them all in. Just because you gotta. It's amazing all the things that we gotta do, even though we don't necessarily want to do. It's like you can't have a finished painting until you paint it. You can't have a written book until you write it. You can't have a lot of stuff until you do it. That's okay. There we go. So now what I'm going to do, and this is something that I discovered I really like having, is remember back with this one. So I put the line there like that in order to create these designs. Well, on this one, I found that when I put lines like this and kind of let that part be isolated, it made for a really cool design, a really cool look. And so I'm gonna do, because this one is kind of the sum one, so I'm gonna do that. And then as far as what else I want to do with this one, well, you'll notice on this guy here, I went inside the blocks, whereas here I did the line on the inside the dots. Well, one thing that I also did on these ones was I kept everything symmetrical in a, like if you were to draw a line down the center, this side would match this side, draw a line here, this side would match this side. But sometimes by doing things symmetrical, you're actually going to do something that is going to be consistent if you rotate it. And so this is going to work with rotation symmetry. So I've got these guys marked off here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from here to here. I'm going to connect those ones together. I'm going to draw a line from here to here to connect them together, here to here to connect them together, and here. Because now, when I go back in with my pen, and I draw these guys in, I've got the lines going diagonal here, like this, and then I'm just going to keep doing that all the way. I'm going to keep drawing in all of the lines, like so. Oh, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Well, me. So I'm just going to draw my lines like that, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw my diagonals. So diagonal here like that. That one's going to connect like that. So you see that thread will kind of go like that. Well, I'll just keep on doing the diagonals. And then keep on adding just a little bit more. Like so. Fill in here like that, and go diagonal like that. Now this one's a lot more complicated because, one, we've got a lot more stuff going on in the inside. That's okay though. And so now, I'm just going to kind of go along and, I think I'm going to do these points first because they're kind of cool. So what I like to do to make these points is I like to extend it a little above the box. So I just pick a point, midpoint here like that, and then create a loop like this. And when I do that on all sides, I create this kind of interesting star. It's kind of a subtle-ish star, not like the super bold mega definition stars, but just a little star in there. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to add in these caps like this, because that's another good intermediate step here. I'm going to add in this cap like that, this cap like that. Then I'm going to come and add in these little loops like this. I'm going to add in this loop like this. I'm going to add this one here like this. And then add in this one like this. So you see, now I have all those little rings like we did before. I've got some little stuff going on in here though, where I've got the little bit of extra twists. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the threads a little bit like that. Then I'm going to put this thread like so. I'm going to do this thread like so. And then put this thread like so, just like that. So now I've got this really cool little twisty thing going on here where it just moves all throughout the entire thing. And so when I go in and color this one, I'm going to take my gold and I'm going to go with the rings once again, just because I like it. So we'll have a gold ring here like this. We'll have a gold ring here like this. Have a gold ring right here like this. A gold ring here like this. And then, because I like the way that it is and it kind of reminds me of vines going through, I'm going to just go with my green because I think that's a good color. And I'm not going to go too hard. I'm just going to go light so that you still get all the texture. But also you'll note that as I'm coloring, I'm not just coloring in all the white space. I'm grabbing the thread as it appears next, following it, and just seeing where it goes. This one is going all over the place. And it looks like we're lucky enough that this one is a thread that is actually continuous through the entire thing. So then I put my last little bit here, and boom. So now that one's done. And I really like this because I love the way that it's got this real organic kind of flow. These extra little star points now have more of a leaf-like style, kind of more of a plant-like tree. Then I like the little rings in here, just something nice, something sweet. Well, at this time, I think I'm just going to call it. Was hoping to have a few more this time, but you know, this was a new experiment, so we will see how this works in the future. Otherwise, if you are watching this later on, I hope you enjoyed, and if you, liked and want to do some of your own, check out my other short videos. Check out some of my other drawing tutorials where I do some even more elaborate things. And until next time, take care and have a good one.